First time in a long time in Detroit, you have high expectations, Super Bowl expectations. How you kind of approached it with your team?
Yeah, I would say that they understand what it took to get to where we were at even last year. And just because we got to that point doesn't mean anything. So we start over. There is no complacency. There is no entitlement. We go back to work. And that is the focus. Because if you don't work, it doesn't matter.
The Detroit Lions arguably had their best season in franchise history last year, winning 12 games in the NFC North Division title for the first time since 1993, winning their first playoff game since the 1991 season, and making it back to the NFC Championship game for only the second time in their franchise's existence. It was truly a magical season for the Lions, but if you've been paying attention to this team for the past couple of years, this wasn't super surprising. I suppose they still did go over expectations by making it to the NFC Championship game, but I think going into the season, most people picked the Lions to win the division and acknowledge that they had a very good roster on paper, with most of the talent being acquired by Brad Holmes, who I think has emerged as one of the best general managers in the entire sport. And I think that's one of the best things about the sport of football, that a franchise like the Lions that really hadn't seen success in over 30 years hires the right coach in Dan Campbell, hires a great general manager to lead their organization and Brad Holmes, and in just a couple of seasons, the entire trajectory of the franchise is changed. And that's how we sit at present day, as the Lions being one of the best teams in the entire league, and I don't really see them slowing down anytime soon. A lot of teams, when they get a taste of success, really put it in cruise control and become a little bit more conservative with the moves that they make to help out their roster. But the Lions this offseason took the complete opposite approach and really took a couple of home run swings to fill out the last couple of holes on their roster. On the offensive side of the ball was really about maintaining all of the continuity that they have built over the past couple of seasons. They're bringing back every single starter on that unit from a season ago, except for their third wide receiver. Lee Freeman's going to take over for Josh Reynolds, who left to the Broncos in free agency. And at right guard, they signed Kevin Zeitler to replace Jonah Jackson, who left to the Rams in free agency. But Jared Goff was brought back on a massive extension. Amon-Ra St. Brown signed a contract extension. You go to the offensive line, and right tackle Penei Sewell was re-signed, as well as Graham Glasgow at the guard position. Of course, the young and super talented players and Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta and Jamison Williams, they're all going to be back as well this year. And the piece that ties it all together is that their offensive coordinator in Ben Johnson did not take a head coaching job for the second straight offseason. He's been a top candidate for a while now, but he just really likes the situation in Detroit. He doesn't want to just leave for a random opportunity and not really have a lot of security. So while he waits for that perfect job to open up, he's going to remain as one of the best offensive coordinators in the league. And that's great news for the Lions and Jared Goff, who has really flourished in his system. They scored 27.4 points per game last season, which ranked 5th in the entire NFL. So with another year under their belt, I expect the Lions offense to be elite once again. But going over to the other side of the ball is where the Lions made most of their additions this offseason. What I'm really excited to see about this team, they ranked 25th in the league in points allowed per game with 23.8 in 2023. That was definitely their Achilles heel. I will say sometimes the defense was streaky. It had some good performances. It caused some turnovers here or there because it does have some playmakers on that side of the ball, like Aiden Hutchinson, for example. But it did feel like oftentimes whenever the defense was needed in a big spot, or the offense was not humming for the entire game and that unit needed to step up, they weren't able to do so consistently enough. So Brad Holmes and the organization made it a priority to make sure that does not happen once again. Their biggest addition was getting defensive tackle DJ Reader from the Cincinnati Bengals on a 2-year deal worth up to $27.25 million. Reader has emerged as one of the best run stoppers in the entire league. The Lions defense was actually second against the run in 2023, and that's largely due to Aleem McNeil and their linebacking play. But now you add in DJ Reader, and that run defense is going to be absolutely ridiculous. And for Dan Campbell, who's all about physicality and trench play, I don't think there's a team in the NFL that has better trench play than the Lions. It's going to be almost impossible to run against the Lions when McNeil and Reader are on the field. I will say that is the one concern with Reader, is if he can hold up. He's over 30 years old and he's coming off of a torn quadriceps injury. He's not been practicing yet either in training camp, so I don't know if he's going to be ready for week number 1 or not. But that's only a headliner for all of the defensive moves the Lions made this offseason. Defensive end Marcus Davenport was also acquired to help out on the defensive line. Once upon a time, he was picked number 14 overall by the New Orleans Saints in the 2018 NFL Draft. He has 23.5 career sacks and he has been effective at getting after the passer, but he's another guy that struggles to stay on the field, but that's why the Lions got him for such a bargain price, and they'll have their fingers crossed that he can stay healthy for a bulk of the season. But now to the cornerback room. Detroit completely revamped this unit. I mean, they added 4 new players that are all probably going to have a role on this defense. It started with Carlton Davis. The Lions traded a 3rd-round pick with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to get him, and Davis, still at 27 years old, is in the prime of his career and has proven himself to be a very solid cornerback. They brought in Amik Robertson on a 2-year, $9.25 million deal from the Las Vegas Raiders. I think he's going to lock down the slot cornerback position, but he does have some versatility that if he is needed on the boundary, I do think he can step in and play. But I don't think he's going to be needed because the Lions in the NFL draft spent their first 2 picks as well on the cornerback position. They moved up in the draft to get Terrion Arnold out of Alabama. He's another very physical and versatile player, and who many scouts saw as the best cornerback in this draft class. In the 2nd round, they doubled down and took Ennis Rakestraw Jr. out of Missouri. So there's a lot of new faces on this defense, and I expect it to take a massive leap next year. And Aaron Glenn, their defensive coordinator, is returning for his 4th straight season. And that is the one thing that is so unique about this Lions team, is that all of their key coaches and all of their key players are going to be back. You look around the league, or really at almost every single team that makes it far into the postseason, they're losing coaches left and right. They're losing some players because they're in a bad cap situation. And that's really what I view is so special about this team and what they can accomplish in 2024. Now, obviously, the road back to the NFC Championship game or even to the Super Bowl is going to be even harder this time. I know Dan Campbell always likes to mention that. The Lions are not going to be catching any teams by surprise this year. They're going to be playing a first place schedule because they won the NFC North. And every given Sunday, they're going to get a team's best shot to take them down because they have some pedigree now. The division got a lot better this offseason as well. The Green Bay Packers made a ton of additions. The Chicago Bears have a new quarterback in Caleb Williams, and they also made a number of really nice moves. And the Vikings, who many people expect to be the worst team, still has a ton of really good players and a very nice coaching staff. But I still believe the Lions are the most talented team in the division. And again, going back to what I've said this entire video, continuity is a big thing in the NFL. The Packers have themselves a new defensive coordinator. The Bears have themselves a new offensive coordinator. It's going to take those teams a few weeks to adjust and get used to those new schemes. The Lions are going to hit the ground running, and I do think that's an advantage that not many people mention. And unlike the AFC, I do feel like the NFC is a very top-heavy conference. Outside of the 49ers, Eagles, and Packers, I don't think the Lions have another real threat this year. And with the 49ers dealing with so much drama this offseason, the Trent Williams holdout, the Brandon Ayuk situation, Christian McCaffrey just got injured as well. It does feel like the NFC is wide open, and the Lions have a fantastic opportunity to take advantage of. The roster talent is there. The coaching staff is there. They got some experience in the postseason last year and getting over that hurdle, but now it's about putting all of those pieces together and accomplishing something that no other Lions team has done in franchise history. But I want to know what you think about the Detroit Lions and what you expect from this team in 2024. Do you agree with me and think they have a great chance to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl? Or do you still have some questions about the roster and what this team can accomplish? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. But subscribe to the channel if you are new. Drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in my next one.